like somebody tipped me with the finger on my forehead and said in a spark, like, take a deep breath. And the fever of the people and their reaction showed me that I am responsible for their feelings, for their fears, for their tears, for their laughing, for their hate, for their rage, for their passion. And as a German man, I'm pretty responsible. I do the things I say. And I thought to myself, I am responsible for these people. I cannot let them down. And in the same time, I felt alive. I felt that whatever I do touches people in their heart, and that gives me a purpose to live. And when Nargaroth is the ship that I build to live, I don't have to sink it as long as there are people who are working with me on that ship.
How did black metal knock on your door? What did inspire you to express your feelings using this kind of music?
I was a strange kid, you know. When I think back in the time when I first got into black metal, I listened to metal before, and before I was listening to AC/DC and Accept, and then was death metal a bit, and then in the beginning of the 90s I explored via tape trading other bands who played black metal. When I think back to this time, I was a kind of a lonely teenager. I was always the strange one in the class, in the school. I was always sitting totally in the back. Nobody wants to talk to. You are laughing. From now I can laugh too, but when you are in this position, you feel like an outsider. Yes. And when you are a teenager, you don't understand all the time what you are really doing. My daddy was a strange man too. He was a very tight dad, you know, so I had my issues with him, so I was pretty lonely. I was mainly in the forest, walking around. Hard. Yeah. And when I heard the first time black metal, I felt like coming home. There was somebody screaming. There was a melody that touched me. It was like a little bit the answer to that questions that I had as teenager in my head that I couldn't answer. As teenager, you're pretty stupid, you know. And it's a part of being teenager, and it's totally fine. And it relieved me of some of my pains. And I had some metal bands before. It was more raw death metal and black death. And I could scream pretty well, you know what I mean? And I wrote poems. I think this is pretty common that kind of lonely teenagers write poems. So I wrote poems, and I started to put them into music. And I don't want to say it became naturally black metal, but somehow it was this way that I just changed my mind in this creation of music, and I fell into this art, and it became a part of me in the good and in the bad ways.
According to your opinion, what's the base of the black metal spirituality, and how does it show itself?
That's a very difficult question, because I guess everybody has his own point of it. The main spirituality of black metal is Satanism. But I'm not much of a believer in this way. I studied psychology. I'm a psychologist in real life. And I believe in the self-development of man, that everybody have to think about himself, to think about what he's doing, why he's doing it, try to change it if there are things that hurts himself or others, to develop the mind, to the understanding of yourself. And this development, this growing, this inner struggle, this inner fight with yourself, to try it new and make the same mistake again, but not give up and try it again. This is for me something that makes a man, for me, worth his honor. And a black metal person is this kind of person to me. He's kind of bright, he's strong, don't use drugs, don't drink too much. He stands for what he's saying. I cannot say that I always fulfilled these kind of things. I made my mistakes too. I was not always honest in my life.
Like everybody.
Yeah, like everybody. But I try it. And my philosophy about black metal is to put these inner struggles, these experiences and thoughts into lyrics and sing it with real passion in order to reach other people who are in the same position. And when you are honest in this way, in this kind of music, you touch others because they can find themselves in this music again. Because they say, what he feel, I know by myself because I'm human as he is. And this means that you make yourself free from too high spirituality, that you don't become a slave of others or beliefs. And this is much more satanic for me than everything else, because be your own God is one of the first phrases in Satanism, you know? This is my opinion. And I know that many orthodox black metal bands dislike me for this, but I give a shit.
Ash, you express yourself in a very philosophical way. Even in some interviews, you have talked about some poets, such as Johann or Goethe. What are your favorite authors or writers, and have they inspired your lifestyle and musical composition?
I have to say first, before I answer the questions about book writers, I'm not much of a reader, you know? When I read, I take special books, but mainly science books. I'm very boring in this. I even read physics books. But when I read, I like to read like diaries.
Yes.
When older men start to release their diaries. And there's a guy from America, it's called Jack Kerouac. Maybe you heard it. They make now a movie of his book. It's called On the Road. And this book touched me very deeply in the manner of be free, go on the road and make your experiences. When I was pretty young, I was hitchhiking a lot and traveling around. And this reminded me a lot of my life there, and also what it means to lay in a fucking cheap motel at night and see the light of the passing trucks at the wall, and I was thinking, what's gonna be next? Why I'm here again? Why is this bottle of whiskey there? and what gonna be in my life, you know, this. And so Jack Kerouac was a very important writer to me. Maybe you know, I can just pronounce it in German. It's Rilke, a very depressive one. He even touched me in his way to express his feeling in words, and he inspired me even in the way I write my poems. And from writers and movie makers, it's Dennis Hopper. You know Dennis Hopper, a very experimental person in the 70s who really touched me in the way he expressed his demons, his life, and how brave he was to create new ways of acting, this method acting. And the last book that some years ago that really touched me inside is called Into the Wild. You ever heard that? This guy who burned everything he had, burned the money, and just walked around, went to Alaska, and he died there. This was something that touched me very deep because it touched my deep feeling to go away from the society, to live alone and get free of all those things that makes us slaves. These are the things that touch me deeply, even if I'm not such a big reader. So sometimes when I want to read a book, I write it by myself.
You have a very contagious energy on stage, and you transmit it. There's a strong connection with the audience. So, when you're playing live, do you think it allows to you to reconnect with your spirit and supply it with a new and renovated energy?
Sometimes when I'm on stage, I feel obsessed and I feel possessed. It's just like a wild rage and a fight with these inner demons. I remember sometimes when I sing the songs in what kind of situation I was when I wrote the song. There was many times desperation, despair, pain, sometimes even love. And I recreate this passion, and I want to put this spark into the people, that they fight with themselves, that they fight with my look, that they get this spirit, that I'm obsessed and that they get obsessed. In this moment, we are pure and we are connected. When the people listen to my music on CD, they are in my music, it's okay. But when I'm on stage, I can have a real moment between him or her and me. And that's why in the song Possessed by Black Fucking Metal, there is a part live when I take eye contact with the people and I stare in their eyes as far as I can see them. Sometimes the light is a little bit distracting.
You can notice in the last concert.
Yeah.
Here.
And in this moment, there can be 10 people in the room, or thousands, or 5,000 as the last time in Mexico. In this moment, there's just him or her and me in this little moment. And it's like, I see you and you see me. You're not.
Connection, the visual connection.
Yes. And this is a deep spirit for me and a deep energy. And in this concert, I played the song 7 Tears Are Flowing to the River. And I played this song only in Bogotá because for the reason that Bogotá is very special to me. I answered this in the first question. And after my speech and the song started, I saw some people cry in the crowd. I saw some guys and some girls cry. And it was so strong that even I started to feel the tears in my eyes. More real, no music can become.
I will never forget what you gave me in 2009 when I came here the first time. And only because of you, Nargaroth still exists. And my heart belongs to you, and because of that, I'm gonna play a special song only for you.